Okay, I'm sorry. Uh, and what did you hear? Nothing. Okay, I'm sorry. So let's start again. So I don't know why I'm mute. Okay. Now we are working on the security of the information system. The idea is that when we have securities, we know that when we move to digital information system in general, it's very important to uh, protect our data, our access in the camera on the network, and security is one of the key things to ensure that people, the company or the organization, will not be attacked by the hacker, or we don't lose our secret. So as the somehow the manager or the technical manager, you should aware about some security risk and how to handle them. And in this part, I'll try to show you uh, this one, the inscription. There is as previous section, we know that in the symmetric key is the one that we can encrypt the message, but both sender and receiver must use the same secret key or the same key. It's just like in our childhood when we send a message from one friend to another, we try to agree on some like this key. Like every time I write down one, it mean A, two, it mean B, and so on. So please remember that. And then when I send you a message like one, two, you know that it is AAB. So usually that we before we can use the encryption like that way, well, both sender and receiver must agree on this point. But for the internet connection is not secure. Means that everyone, if they can, is the one that can listen to the message over the internet, over the communication, then you can they can know the secret key. So there is the not good mechanism in order to protect the message over the internet. Now people come up with the ideas using the public key encryption. That mechanism is quite special. Public key mechanism inscription, here we have two keys. One we call it public keys, another one called private key. By the name you can imagine that the public key is the one that can be publicly shared for everyone. The private key is the one that should be uh, keep secret by the owner of the key. Okay, what we can do with the public key and private keys, this one is the way they do. They have first the encryption and the decryption here. Every time you use one of the key to encrypt the message, you can use the remaining key to decrypt it. Means that if you public key to encrypt the message, and then when you want to decrypt it, you use the private key. Okay, and this work on the opposite direction, means that you can use the private key to encrypt the message, and then you can use public key to decrypt the message. Okay, actually this kind of combination is very useful for the internet connection and the way that we do we protect data over internet. Now uh, let's have one situation to imagine. Now we have a message to send, and let's say I want to send a message, let's say from uh, Alice to Bob. Okay, normally people will use the two name. So Alice will have the public keys of Bob. Bob have the public key of Alice. Okay, and Alice have the private key of Alice, and Bob have the private key of Bob. Now I want to ask you the first question. Like now, Alice wants to send a message to Bob and want to ensure that no one else other than Bob can read the message. What should Alice do? Hello, do you get the idea? The question? So we have what here? Alice want to send a message to Bob, okay? And Alice want to make sure that only Bob can read the message, okay? What should Alice do? Hello. She should encrypt the message, yes. But now please give it more detail. Let's say Alice should use the public key of whom. So your friend say, okay, now we have now Alice, okay, as a let's say public key of Alice, okay, and a private of Alice, and Bob has public of Bob and private of Bob, okay, and because the public keys is mean everyone can have, so Alice also have the and also have the public key of Bob, okay, and Bob can have the public key of Alice. Now, what should Alice do? Yes, the answer is from Uyên. Alice, Alice should use the public key of Bob. Okay, so Bob to encrypt the message. Because what we know is that only the private key of Bob can decrypt the message, and only Bob have the private key, his or private key, so that we can make sure that Bob is the only one that can read the message. Okay. Okay. Uh, on the internet connection, uh, so they have many situations. Let's think about this one. Now, do you think is there any situation that Alice will use the private key of Alice to encrypt the message? In which situation Alice will use the private key, private of Alice, to encrypt the message. So everyone think about this one. When Alice will use her private key. Everyone, uh, your friend said that one of your friends said this when she's one that she's the only one that can read the message. Is it correct, everyone? No, because now let's try to look at this one. When we use the private key of Alice to encrypt the message, how can we decrypt it? We must use the public keys of Alice to decrypt the message. Okay, but because the name public keys mean you can share with everyone. Let's say in this case, Bob have that key. So it's not true that she want that she's the only one that can read the message. Now, actually, there is another property on the security. We want to say that we want to make sure that the message is written by Alice. This is what we want. So, in this case, in the case that Alice want to make sure or to show yeah to make sure that only Alice can write the message. Or in some other case, we mean that the authority, we want to authorize, we want to make sure that it's a message written by a given person. Let's say in your company, let someone say, hey, the boss say that we can have a day off this week on Monday. When people just tell like that, it's very hard to verify who actually allow or send that message. But now, if the boss, the director of the company, use his private key to write out a message like people can have a day off on Monday with the private key of the director. And then what happens is that when everyone receives a message, they use the public key to decrypt the message. And the public keys, they use the public keys of the directors. And if they can successfully decrypt the message, what happened? What does it mean? It means that they actually written by the one that own the private keys of the directors, and by assumption that the directors keep the private key secure, and we can ensure that that is the right message from the directors. Okay, so do you get the idea? Because what we know is that because it means when we successfully decrypt the message using the public key of Alice, means that the one encrypted by the private key of Alice, and we can ensure that that message is written by Alice. Okay, is it clear enough for you? Okay. The others, is it clear enough for you? Now, so now the application of this. Let's say in the e-commerce system, okay, people want to have something like, we want to make sure that when the user, it means you log in into Tiki, okay, you want to buy something, okay, and if you want to, let's say, buy an iPhone, okay, and then the Tiki will check your credit card account somewhere, and then you go to the bank, say, hey, I did not do that. Tiki tracks me for no reason. How Tiki can prove that you are the one that actually make the request and buy the objects? So in that case, Tiki can apply the encryption this way. He will ask, the Tiki will ask the customers to use the private keys, his own private keys, to write down a message like, hey everyone, I want to buy an iPhone that costs $500, let's say, and he used his private key to write out a message and send it to Tiki. Okay, and later on, if we have any problem, Tiki will show that message and say, hey, you can see the message using the private keys of the customers, and I can successfully decrypt that message using the public key of that customer. It means that that customer is the one that actually make the request, so he cannot refuse or reject the fact that he asking to buy something. Okay, so there is another properties in securities, on data securities. So from here we have some keywords. I will try to show you this one. We have the keyword for that e-commerce. Just 1 second. I will show you this slide. That is here's some properties, some security properties that in e-commerce people actually really want to have. Here, this one. I mean, okay. So so far we have two things. First of all, we have this one. integrity. It means that I want, for securities, we want to have the one integrity. Let's give it for a moment. That the one I just told you is that there is non-repudiation. Means that the customer cannot deny the ordering of the products. Okay, and the way we do it, you ask the user to use his private keys to encrypt the message. Okay, here uh, here in the same thing we can use authenticities. It means how can we identify the real person, a person that he claimed to be. So this one actually is the one that use is in every time you want to prove that you are the owner of the key of your Alice, let's say. So you use the private keys of Alice to write down the message, and everyone, if they use the public keys of Alice available on the internet, and they can decrypt the message, means that you can successfully prove that you are Alice. Okay, so we can authenticity means the one that you can prove yourself. Here is the first example I show you. Confidentiality means that we don't want we want that someone only the one that we want to read the message can read it. So we want to have confidentiality mean that I want to make sure that only Alice or Bob can read the message. So if I want only Bob can read the message, I will use the public key of Bob to encrypt the message, and then only Bob with the private keys can decrypt it. Well, so we have confidentiality. Okay. For this one, on the integrity, we want to say something about when I send a message, no one can change that. It's in the middle. People cannot alter the message and replace it with the other one. So now the question for you, how can we have this kind of thing? How can I make sure that the message I send from my computer to my boss asking him to give me something, or asking him to do something is not alter on the way that I transmit the message from one place to another? How can we do it for integrity? Because now we are on the internet, we want to ensure some property like that. Now I want to ensure that my message is not alter. It means it's safe in the original version from my side, and when it reach the recipient. Hello, how can I ensure that? Yes, thank you, Lynn. So for integrity, actually we use the same kind of thing from the we use the private keys say the boss want to ask the employee to do something, and he will use the private keys and say, hey, I will increase the salary of Alice to 500 of $5,000, and he will use the private keys, his private key. The boss will use his private key to sign the message, I mean to encrypt the message. And then next time, in the middle, if someone got the encrypted message, if he want to change the message to, I want to increase the salary of Alice and Bob to $500 or $5,000, but actually the one in the middle, they have no access to the private key of the directors of the boss, so that have no way to rewrite the message. If he rewrite the message with another key, and then when people receive it, receive the message, they try to use the public keys of the director of the boss and try to decrypt the message. That cannot be success, because the private keys is not the private key of the directors if they alter the message in the middle. Okay, so that way people can finally get something like integrities. So you see that here, for the public key and private key, actually it is the very important mechanism, and that is the mechanism used by the whole internet nowadays to ensure all the sensitive information will be kept secret, or to ensure to secure on the transaction on the bank, on the Visa card, on information system when people use digital documents. Okay, so public key and private keys is actually the core things for the internet, especially for the valuable transaction on the internet nowadays. That is very, very important notion in computer science, in securities, to ensure that people can successfully or safely use the internet for their business. Okay, and now I will give you a bit more information on different kind of thing. The first one is this one. We have the notion of digital certificate. That is another part that add on the top of the public key and private keys. So the situation like this one. Have a look at this, maybe. Okay, have a look at this one. Now, with the public key and private keys, it is very good to ensure that we can ensure the integrity, the authenticity, the confidentiality of the message. It's very good. But there is one thing that could be attacked by the hacker. Can you imagine what the hacker can do? So I got one question from Hang. Can the other read the message when the boss used the Alice public key? No, because Alice public keys can be read only when we have the private keys of Alice to decrypt it. Okay. Okay, Hang. Then now back to my question. So we have the mechanism, public key and private keys, and that is the notion that people will try to use to protect the thing. But in this mechanism, there's one thing that the hacker can attack, can cheat, or can deceive. It means try to cheat the user, try to attack on this mechanism. Can you imagine what is it? So actually, there is one thing that the attackers on the internet will try to do. First of all, now assume that you are in the internet now. Okay, you want to send a message to me, okay, or to Google or to Facebook. Okay, let's say Facebook. And you want to make sure that only Facebook can read your message. Let's say you want to send your password to Facebook to ask him to ask Facebook to log in, okay? Because you don't want everyone else to read the password, your Facebook password, okay? So you want to send a message that only Facebook can read the message that contain your password to verify who are you. Now what should we do? If I want to send a message to Facebook, let's say my password, to make sure that only Facebook can read it, and Facebook will allow me to log in into Facebook account. Now what can I do? What should I do? Hello? If I want to send a message to Facebook, and only I want to make sure that only Facebook can read the message, what should I do? If I use encryption, that is. Hello? So if I want to send a message to Facebook, and only I make sure that only Facebook can read it, so we use what? Yeah, we use the public key of Facebook, okay, to send it to Facebook. Now, that is the thing. Now, being asked us like the hacker can use the public key of Facebook to encrypt the message on behalf of us. It is not we care, because if they're another story. First of all, if we want to send something to Facebook, so and ensure that only Facebook can read the message, so we use the public key of Facebook, okay. And now I want to make sure that we are the owner, the one that write down the message, or we want to authenticity. We want to make sure that to tell Facebook that this is me that request to lock the Facebook account. So in this case, so actually what we will do is I will use my private key to encrypt the message first, and then I use the public key as Facebook to encrypt the message again, and then what we can do is this one. So imagine this one. User Alice use her private keys, private Alice, okay, to encrypt a message, okay. Then she use uh, the the public key of Facebook to encrypt the above encrypted message again. So it means like we use the public keys of Facebook to encrypt the private of Alice and on the message. Okay, đây là situation Uyên asking about. So here what you can see is that Alice, we use the private key of Alice to encrypt the message, and after we have encrypted message of that part, we use the public keys of Facebook to encrypt the message again. So what does it mean by this combination? In this combination, we can ensure two things. We in this we can ensure that only Alice Alice is the one who write the message, okay, and only this is double encryption for sure, and only Facebook can read the message, okay. So we can ensure two things. So this one we have Alice is the one that writes the message, and only Facebook can read the message. We have double encryption here. Yes. That is the one asking by Uyên. Yeah, it's quite a good question. Thank you. But now in this situation, okay, you see that the both one of the yes. Here Uyên asked a follow question like, in this case, can everyone see the message of Alice? Of course, if we don't have the second encryption, everyone can read the message. But now, because when you receive the data, you send this data over an internet, the message is wrapped by the other parts. So it wrapped by the other part, so that we ensure that the message of Alice cannot be read by the other one, because in order to read it before you can access this one, you have to use the public keys of Facebook, the private keys Facebook, in order to open the message, open the first envelope. Okay, so it's not possible for everyone to read it if you encrypt this kind of thing this way. Okay, Uyên? Yeah. Everyone else, just on the combination of this one, is it okay for you? Is it clear enough? Okay. Now, I come back to the problems. Here, this mechanism, as you can see, is quite good, but still the hacker can attack on this kind of mechanism. Please again think about that. How the hacker can attack on this one? Here, there is one thing that is very special. The question is, how can you know about the public keys of Facebook? If you want to send it to Facebook, you want to get the public key of Facebook. We have one assumption that, hey, Facebook will show it somewhere, okay? Hey, everyone, is my public key. This is public key of Google, this is public key of Facebook, this is public key of IU. Everyone will show it. And where they will show it? Where should I show my public key? Of course, I can send an email. I can put it in website. I can send a file to my friends. But now, when you want to get the public keys of Facebook, how can you get it? Normally, if you want to find the public key of Facebook, what can you do? You do the Google search, no? I will search. Hey, Google, please tell me why the public key is Facebook. Actually, that is the problem. Because the hacker can create many websites as they want. They say, hey, here is the public key of Facebook, here is the public key of Facebook. But instead, behind the scene, the public key is shown to everyone is the public keys of the hacker. So it's just dangerous. Means that the hacker will use his public keys and show and store it and send it everywhere. And hey, this is the public keys of Facebook, but instead this is the public key of the hacker, his public key. So what happened then? In this case, we try to get the public keys of Facebook, but unfortunately, we got the public key of the hacker, and we encrypt the public key of our data with the public key of hacker to ensure that we want to ensure that only Facebook can read it. But actually, what we can ensure only is that only the one that owns the private key that we got here, the private key corresponding to the key we use here, can read the message. And if we got the wrong public key, which means the public key of the hacker, then we send our data and only the hacker can read it. That is a big problem. Okay? Did you get the situation? The problem is we can be deceived. This means the hacker can deceive us by broadcast, by telling everyone here is the public keys of the Facebook, but he will give you the his own public key. That is a big problem. And if we have that problem, the whole mechanism here will be attacked. So in computer science, we try to have one mechanism that is something very special. We call it a digital certificate. Okay. So here the idea is that we will on the internet or internet communication, people will have some certificate authority. Is it the one that is very famous? Not famous, very trustworthy, a trusted party. Let's say the bank, it maybe the government of US, the Vietnamese government will have someone that works at the trusted authorities, and that one everyone will trust, and we have a special mechanism where the government and all infrastructures have to ensure that the public keys of this trust authorities evaluate, and we people really get it, and we make sure that we get the right public key of that authorities. We call it CA. Okay, and after we have one or few trusted public key, what we can do is that the authorities will use his public keys to each public key to encrypt the message and link like that. Link like here is the CA, the trusted party will write out a message. Here is the public keys of Facebook, and he attached with that message public key of Facebook. Means on the message we have linked the identity of the owner of the public key with the public key. So we have something like if you write it will be addition. The trusted certificate authorities we write out. We use the public keys of the CA to write them to encrypt the message and tell hey to use the private key. Sorry, the private key of the CA to write out here. Here somehow like this one. Here is the public key of Facebook, and then pub of Facebook. Okay, the certificate on the authorities will do like this, and this one we can somehow have a place to get the public key of the one that we really need, and because we trust the CA in the internet on over the world we have few CAs, and people will make sure that the public keys and the private keys of that CA well the public key of that CA we well known for everyone, and the hacker cannot do anything with that. So the CA then can use to verify the user identities, to store information about the user on the server, and we generate the certificate. The certificate is something like here. This is the public key of the Facebook, and they will cite use the, and then people we call this one the public key infrastructure. Okay, so you see that the mechanism that result in this one. So we have one individual or institution, they want to have the certificate of someone else. They will ask, go through internet and ask the certificate from CA. The CA will try to give you, say here is the digital certificate with the issuer name, it's mean the name of the certificate or authorities. The subject name is the one that you work on. The signature is mean the private key of the private key of the CA used to encrypt the message, and the result of the encrypted message will be on the signature. So after all, you receive one document that link the subject name to the public key of the subject, so that you can trust and then you can use. Okay, so we call that one is public key infrastructure. Okay, and now I will show you here. Let's say I will show you in this one. If you see Vietcombank, let's say, so you see Vietcombank, the message they say they is secure, and then when we want we can use the certificates. We show certificates, and they will say I don't know if you can see it. So the certificate detail, they will say here either the subject. Okay, so the certificate authority will say, hey, this is the Vietcombank website from the organization named Joint Stock Commercial Bank for Foreign Trade of Vietnam. They issue it for the IT center in Hanoi, Vietnam. Okay, here the public key of Vietcombank. Okay, and here you have on the other information, but now we can see that this public key is signed by global site root CA. That is the name of the name of the issuer or the CA that ensure that we have a valid mapping. Okay, and on the browser they will have a list of public key of the trusted CA stored in browser. So that way, so every time you use some you want to get some public keys, so you will get the certificate, and the browser will have you to check that whether or not the certificate it come from the trusted CA, and if you can trust them, and then you can use the public keys are the one that you request, and you can send it to Vietcombank using the public keys attached in the digital certificate. Okay, so that is the thing. I know it is a bit complicated somehow, but it is the one that you should know in order to have some idea, to aware about the security problem in the internet. And now what I want to show you before we can just 1 second, I try to so have a look at this one. This is the latest thing that will be on the digital signature. So in Vietnam, people nowadays tell a lot about digital signature. If you means chữ ký điện tử. Okay. So actually digital signatures is the one that uses public key encryption. Okay, and here the final example would be so the sender, let's say they use the digital signatures, mean the one that have the public key and private key mechanism. Here the sender, when you do the transaction on internet, so we have the message like buy x is z at $52. Okay, and let's skip this for a moment. The recipient, they will use the recipient public key to encrypt the message, and then they use the private keys of the user to encrypt the message again, and they send it to the recipient, and then recipient will use the sender public keys to decrypt the message first, and then they use the private keys of the sender to decrypt the message. Finally, they get back the result. Now, everyone, just tell me what kind of properties do we have in this way of sending message using public keys? It means double encryption, let's say, on that part, on this one. What is the value of this kind of thing? This part. If we use this way, what will be the properties that we have? What we can ensure? So we have here on the after we have double encryption, yes. And then what we can do is what we can have is that at the beginning we use the public key of recipient to encrypt the message. So we have that only the recipient, okay, can read the message. Okay. And because we use the private key of the sender, okay, and we can ensure that only the sender can write down that thing, that request. Okay. Yep, that's what we have. Okay, so that is somehow the very quick introduction to public key encryption. That is the one that's used over the internet to ensure your data. Okay, so at least the key message that you should remember. First of all, the way that you use public key and private key in combination to have many to get many security attributes. Uh, this one is a bit different, Uyên. Uh, it's almost the same, but here the result, the one that I use is the last time we do this one, and this time we use the private keys of let's say have a look. We use the sender private keys at the outermost. This means use the private keys of Alice on the top, and then we use the public keys of Facebook on the middle. Okay. Okay. So that is that is a bit different. Uh, so this one actually there is a few in the meaning is that this one actually people use this one first, the second approach, this one, because they want to ensure that before Facebook want to access to use their private key to do something else, they want to make sure the message is from Alice. Let's say Facebook don't want to access to his to the company private key frequently. They just try to minimize the time that they use. They have to access to the private keys because they don't want to open the private key many times. Let's say. So in this mechanism, the different approach is that this here. Facebook ensure that he get the message from the right person, and then I will read it. It's just like the way that you get email. You ensure that hey, I only read the email from my friend. This one I know that is Alice, and then I read it. Otherwise I skip it. Okay. Here's the meaning. So here we know who are sending, who are the owner of the message, and here we try to open it first from our private key, but here we check on the sender first. Okay, Wing? Just like the email address, when you have it, you know from your friends, you read, otherwise you skip. Okay. So that is the thing on the digital encryption and digital public key and private key things. Last thing before we have break is that actually the blockchain technologies, all the key part will base on public key and private keys mechanism. Okay, so now let's have a small break. But just I want to ask you a bit. If you, do you interest in listen to know a bit more on this kind of thing on blockchains, or just enough for you? Just tell me. Everyone, do you want uh, to know a bit more on the way that we use public key and private key in blockchain? Or is enough for you? Yes or no, please? Okay. So then we spend some time for the blockchain. Yeah, yeah. No, not too much. Yeah, but because yeah, blockchain is, I think, is have a very yeah, just few more thing on blockchains. Okay, sure. Because logistic guys use it quite a lot. Okay, let's have a 15-minute break, and then we're back with like 15 minutes or so for blockchain technology, and then we move to another topics. Okay, see you in 15 minutes. Okay. Yeah. So hello everyone, welcome back. Okay. Okay, everyone. I try to show you the blockchain. Uh, it will be in just 15 minutes or so. Um, okay. So there is the slide blockchain. Just few slides. To start, what we know about blockchains. The idea is that blockchain is just a way that people organize data over internet. The keyword will be block and change. So block there are many blocks that change link together. Okay. So if you want to have a figure, it will be something like this one. Okay. Uh, there are a few things. First of all, the blockchain will have this block link back to the previous block. Okay, and one of the uh, properties of the blockchains will be, first of all, we have decentralized records. Second one will be we have resistance to modification. It's been every time you write down something, you cannot change it. Okay, and this pseudo anonymous. I will try to show you this notion. First of all, resistance for modification. Actually, all of these things we base on something we call it digital signatures or public key, public private key encryption. That is the key notion, and there is the hash function. Let's keep it for a moment, but just know that it is using public key and private key encryption. What we do is this one. Now we have two things: how they link to each other. So in blockchains, what they do is here they will use some digital encryption. Okay, they have this the link. They link from one block to another. The way they do is this one is they use some function. They call it the hash function. The CQ hash function. Actually, the one that we saw it in here, the hash function. Okay, this one. That is just a bit different mechanism that have us to CQ data or on the internet. And hash function, if to summarize, it is a very special function that have two things. First of all, the property of the hash is that every data when you hash, that will result in a number or a string, like this one. This is a hash. This is a hash. From John, they will hash into something very strange like this one. This is called CQ hash if they can ensure that for data, when you hash, it will result in hash value, this one, that is almost unique for this one. Means that if you have two different value, when you hash it, it will result in two different hash value here. Okay, but what is special is that that hash value has a fixed size. This means you give it any string, it could be 10,000 pages book, and you hash it, it will result in one string that is that have like a fixed length. It could be 256 byte bit, but it is fixed. Okay, and so that they can shorten the document, and in the same time they can ensure that if they have two documents, if these two documents are different, the hash result will be different, so that help us to detect any modification. So they ensure that this kind of hash is very sensitive to change. This means we have John here, this is the keyword, and if you just modify n to uppercase n for the John, for the last keyword here, let characters here, let's say, the hash value will change totally, and people can easily detect that there is some modification on the result or on the original message. So we call it the CQ hash function that can convert any text to a fixed length string or value, and that string is almost unique for every almost unique for the for a given value, a given string, and it will be very sensitive to change. This means if you change it just one single characters or one single bit, they will result in totally new value and far different from the original one. So that will be the hash function. So in blockchain, what they do is they try to link the data in the block. Let's say this block, this is the value of the block, and in the value of the block, they have all the data you want to write down. You write down the data here, and they will store the hash function, the hash value of the previous block. So you imagine this one. We have block 0 in the first block, and then we have block 1. Block 1 have the hash value of the previous block, and this block have hash value of the previous block. It's linked block together, and knowing that the hash function is very sensitive to the change, means that every time you change the value of the previous block, you will break the link, because in the link they link directly to this one based on the hash function. If you change the value, the hash of this block will be different, so the link will be broken. Okay, so that is the hash function. And in blockchain, they will store this kind of data on thousands of machines over internet, so that when the hacker went to modify something, it's very hard for them to modify, because first of all, if they modify one block, one data in the history, they will break the link, And if they don't want everyone else to know about the changing, they have to do it in the same time on thousand or million of machines in the same time. Otherwise, people will notify, we notice the difference. That is the first thing. Uh, that is not just one way to reason for modification. The other one will be the consensus protocol. So I will not go into detail this one, but I will go to the pseudo anonymous, where we see blockchain in the one, this one. This one is a Bitcoin transaction. It's the very first technologies for blockchains. Recently, we have many application of blockchains. The very first version will be Bitcoin. They for cryptocurrency, but now people are moving to smart contracts. That is something totally different from this one. And last one will be on the application of distributed application. Okay, so the first version, the first application of blockchain will be Bitcoin, will be on the currency. But we see, now I want to show you how we do it. Now, imagine that blockchains have many mechanisms in one of them is hash function to ensure that people cannot change the value, and every change will be easily to be noticed by everyone else, and there are many other things. But now on the Bitcoin blockchains, they would try to use it as the bank because it is a currency. And the question is, how can people open an account in blockchains? That is where we will see the use of public key things. So in blockchains, it's just about the data to say, if I want to send 5 Bitcoin or 5 euro, whatever you say, to one person to another. So Bitcoin do it this way. First of all, they will use the public key as the account number. Okay, means that when you go to the bank, they will give you some number that will be your account number. So everyone want to send you money, they will use that number and send to that number. In blockchains, they say, now I will use the public key as account number. Okay, and you can create any pair, public key and private key, on your own. It means if you want, just create one new pair of key, public and private key, and you keep it, and the public keys will be your account address. So let's say if you want to send me some money, I don't have to go to the bank to ask to open an account. I can at home generate a new key, a new pair of public and private key, and give you the public key, and you just say, I send $10 to that public key, and that's it. And how you can send, how I and the owner of the account can use that money. I do is that before I want to transfer some money to someone, I have to verify that I am the one that is the owner of the account that have $5 or $10. How can I verify? I using the private key corresponding to the account. Say the one here, I say, hey, this is the private keys of my private key, and I will use my private key to sign. It means to write out a message, say I want to send $5 from my account to my friend. And because people can check that the owner of the public account by using the private key, so that they can ensure that they the right owner, so that then they can do the transaction. So you see that in blockchains, the idea is that people will be will allow to create their own account, and they can create as many accounts as they want, and they call it pseudo anonymous. It means that we don't know the name of the user, because what they give us is just some string like that one, just some string, and I can make many string as I want. So people will know, we cannot know who I am. And for every transaction, if I want, I can make one new public key and private key pair and use the public key as the account. So it means I can open as many accounts as I want. So somehow you can see that we have anonymous on the blockchain that way. So people will not know who I am. So for blockchain, actually the owner, the creator of blockchains is unknown up to now. So we don't know who are the real founder of Bitcoin network. We don't know. We just know it by the name or by the account. That's it. So in blockchain, there's this thing. They have resistance to modification. You have pseudo anonymous. It means people can work. They can create their own account. They don't need to go to the bank. They don't have to declare anything. Just create a public key and private key at home and just give the public key to your friend and do it. Okay, so that is the blockchains. And to the next level blockchains, people will try to use smart contract. Smart contract is exactly the code, if else code, but then people will we use public key and private key to verify things. Use hash to make sure that people cannot change it, and they have some consensus protocol. I will skip it. It's too technical here, but smart contract is just the if else statement, and that will have you to implement all of the contract on your own without going to a bank. Let's say I say if people send me 10 ton of raw material, if I cite, I confirm that I receive it, then you can transfer the money back to the user, to the supplier. So that is the if else statement. If the receiver confirm he received enough good, and then we will transfer money. That is the if else statement, and we can do it in the smart contract. It is just the if else statement in blockchain, means that no one can change that rule, and just follow on the agreement on the if else statement we have met on the contract, and no one can change it, and just follow it. After I sign, I will send back money, and everything is controlled by that contract. So people call it smart contract because it people can create on their own. They can have many if else statement if they want, and it cannot be changed. So they like the real agreement, and no one can break the agreement on blockchain. So it is why people are trying to use blockchain for different things, because they give them a lot of control on their work. They don't have to trust anyone else, because we have the contract, and they will follow on the agreement on that contract. And very decentralized. It means it's not one single server that could be hacked, but it a whole network of many machines that work together. And this pseudo anonymous. It means sometimes if you don't want to show your real identities, you can do it in blockchain. Okay, so that is some like very quick introduction to blockchains, but at least you see that for the data security, that is the key parts of many things in computer science in general, and including blockchains. So they use public key, private key, they use hash function. So security is a very important topic nowadays. Okay, so that is on blockchain. I just yeah, and that's it. Do you have any question on this? Or do you have something else that you want to clarify? I may try to answer your question. Okay. At least I have that you see some property of blockchains. Of course, the notion blockchain is like that, but there's many technical detail. But there's some mechanism like how to protect increase sensitive, which means encourage people to protect the data, and how to get money. No, how to protect the data by giving money to the user that try to validate things. But at least there is a blockchain. Okay, so that's it for blockchain. Now go back to the slide. I think like we have this one and try to finish the security section. So back to our work, we see that we have blockchain. We have they use public keys, and for e-commerce they will use digital certificates to ensure that to know the real identity of the user. Question from Uyên. Yeah, they block the created and hard to. It means they will not modify. They cannot be modified. So yeah, the system will be bigger and bigger. There is people try to do something, but at least they what they want is they just try to store very small amount of data on blockchain. If you want to store a big file like a video or the audio file or image, they will not use blockchain. They will use another mechanism. Okay. Okay. Yeah, blockchains they have many improvement recently. They try to make it okay. So we have something with the presentation. Okay. 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 Now try to finish the security section. Okay. We have public private key section encryption. We have digital certificates, and then for data information system in general, on securities there's one thing, but now after people want to secure that ensure that the the data is not modified, read by the right person, and now we have another thing to concern is like the availabilities of the system. It's been like if you run your e-commerce website or you run home business in the internet or using some software, you want to make sure that the transaction has been everything is online. It means you don't want to lose the connection to your server like the one you lose the internet, because otherwise you cannot do anything. Okay, so people actually try to ensure this one. This could be we will have a lot of downtime. It's mean the time that server cannot run due to many reasons, hacked by some hacker, or just the server it crashed, the hard drive it failed, and have failure in hard drive on the machine that it stop the servers. So actually that thing is very hard to ensure, because recently, if do you know that just last 2 days Google have problems, and the whole system of Google, from Google Gmail, for YouTube, Google Search, everything, it stopped working. We stopped working for 45 minutes on globally. It's been all over the world. So it is a big nightmare for Google. Uh, you know, in this case, show that even the very expert, high skill in the domain like Google still have problem with availabilities of the system. So it means that if you are the manager of the company, or you want to digitalize everything, somehow try to have a backup plan how to run the business if you don't have internet connection, if the server on gone. There is a big problem. You have to make sure about that, or you have to make sure that you have backup, you have many backup servers and things like that. Okay, so people call it fault tolerance. It means if something wrong with the system, you can still continue to work. From the technical side, we can say we may have redundant hardware, software, power supply, or servers to help you to run the backup version. Okay. Here we can have the network. You can have to control the network to analyze, to prevent any kind of attacks on your internet connection. Or one of the option is that you can say, hey, outsource the security problem to another company, an expert in the domain, to help you to protect your infrastructure. Okay, and security cloud. It means when people move to cloud computing, you give it to Google, to Amazon to have you to run your servers, and they one option. People now they move a lot to cloud computing, and what you have to care about is how about the providers. You should select a provider that can provide adequate protection for your data, for your hardware, for your network, and they must have some agreement with you. So we call it service level agreement. One example would be, say, Google say that when you run the system on Google or Amazon, they ensure that they have less than 5 seconds of downtime per year. It means they almost run on the time. Or they can ensure that your data is encrypted in a special way that no one else except your company can access the data. So that is the service level agreement. Okay. Or they say if they have problem, they can have the technician help you to fix the problem or handle a problem in 6 hours or 8 hours. So that is a service level agreement. Okay. For the mobile platform, they still have to secure as the way that you secure your network or your computer or your laptop. So it will be the same thing. Okay, and this one actually is very important for the business. We really want to say have the function to access to your phone remotely so that you can do some lock of your phone or stop people from getting data by erase everything remotely. It means you can activate the Find My Phone and different Android or Samsung iOS. They will implement this function for you so that if you have sensitive information in the mobile phone, they still can help you to protect even in the case that you lost the phone. Okay. Yeah, there is the other one. Okay. Now our software qualities will be the same thing that people try to improve the software security. It means if you hire some company to implement some system for you, you want to make sure that they code in a way that they don't have a lot of bugs. They can handle different situations. They can secure your data. They will never store credit cards in plain text. They will have to encrypt the credit card information, have to encrypt the password of the user in the database, so that even when the admin of the system have access to the database, he still cannot read the data. So that is what we should know. Okay. Why? Okay. So so that is the end for the securities. And there's one last thing for security I just want to show you, because that is very relevant nowadays, is that the security on the camera, smartphone, on the what we say. Okay, I will show you this one. uh, I send in chat box the file that related to one everyone here. I try to finish this section on this one. This is a case study on hacking of the internet in Singapore. What we see is that they perform DDoS attack. It means that is the distributed denial of service. Okay, they attack on the internet connection on the service of Singapore. But please read it at home. But there is a key thing is that when they try to analyze how the the hacker can attack the system, what they found is that actually the security problem comes from the IoT, or Internet of Things devices. That is your smart camera, that is your smart I don't know, speaker, that is your smart TV. All of these devices actually is a computer, and security experts say that when they can do experiment, and then they found that just buying a security camera, a smart camera, that you plug it in the internet connection at your house, just in few minutes, the attacker, the hacker with the tool, they can access and get control of your camera. So it means that recently people try to use smart devices with a lot of devices that have internet connection. And as we know, internet is not a secure environment. So that causes a threat for security for all different situations. So again, when you use smart devices, please be careful, especially with the Chinese devices. We don't know what they will do with the device, and the security level of this device is not really high, and they can easily be hacked by hacker. Okay, so that's it for the section on securities. Uh, do you have any question on securities or information system in general? Everyone, do you have any question? So otherwise, I think that's it for section on the securities. Deadline for the projects, that will be the week before the final exam. So we had the schedule for the final exam that I think the final exam is somewhere here. The final exam is here. So we no, is it this year? Oh no, sorry, the old one. Oh, sorry. Do you have it here? I don't know where to get it. I do so. I want to. We would have a makeup section on the reserve week. Then you will present your project then. Okay. So I cannot get it right now. But say is the week before the final exam. Okay. The reserve week of the school of the university. Okay, everyone. So if you don't have any other questions, so that's it for today. Thank you. Okay, bye bye. Thank you.